It's April. You're 3 months into your New Year's resolution. You're 3 months into a bunch of lifestyle changes that you set up for yourself. You've been hitting the gym. You've been spending more time studying for exams and tests. You've been uploading and making YouTube videos every single week like everyone tells you to. So why haven't you been making any progress? This topic is something that I believe is very important to highlight because it's something that I used to struggle with as well. The one thing that's really holding you back from making progress is your mentality. Yes, you have been doing all of the actions, right? You've been consistently going to the gym. You've been consistently studying. You've been doing all the things that are required of you physically, but mentally, you might not have always been there. You're just going through the motions of things. And when you're just going through the motions of things, you only get a very, very, very small amount of the reward. Why is it that you can go 5-6 days a week to the gym, stay on this perfect plan that you bought from some random influencer on Instagram, and you've been on this diet or that diet, and you just haven't been seeing any results? You've been sitting down for 6, 7, 8 hours studying every single day, but you're still not doing better on exams. Maybe you're doing okay, but relative to the amount of work you're putting into it, you don't feel like you're getting the results that you know you should be. Why is that? Why is it that we can dedicate so much time and so much effort into something and just not see the results that we're looking for? Just showing up is enough, right? Wrong. That's the wrong mentality to have. Now let me say this right now so you don't get the wrong idea, right? Showing up for yourself is an absolutely incredible feat. You going to the gym 5-6 days a week has been absolutely incredible. You sitting down and studying for hours and hours and hours is incredible. Don't get me wrong, right? Showing up for yourself is amazing and you should be proud of that. But with that being said, even though you're going to the gym, you still need to be intentional while you're there. Even though you're going to those coffee shops to study, you need to be intentional while you're there. Does the time that you're investing actually make a difference if you're not there mentally? If you're not fully engaged in what you're doing and being fully present in that activity, does it actually make it worth it? Now here's an example of that. When you go to work out and you're doing bicep curls, you need to concentrate on the muscle contraction, you need to concentrate on the tempo, you need to concentrate on your form, you need to concentrate on the rep ranges you're doing, right? But if you're just going to the gym, grabbing a random set of weights that you did last week, and then you're just curling and curling and curling, going through the motions, you're not developing that mind-muscle connection, you're just kind of going through the motions, you're not gonna get that much out of those bicep curls. You're supposed to be present while you're there, and that's how you're gonna get maximal results, right? You have to be intentional with your workouts. You're trying to break down your muscle tissue so it can regrow and stimulate hypertrophy. You're trying to stimulate strength gains. You're trying to stimulate an increase in athletic ability. Whatever it is, you have to be intentional. The goal is to be intentional. So congratulations, you've developed the habit of going to the gym 5-6 days a week. You've developed the habit of studying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And I mean that genuinely, not sarcastically. Like, congratulations, that is a huge feat. But because you're putting in so much effort to do that, and I understand that it's very difficult to do, I want you to actually maximize the value you're getting for your time. I want you to maximize your efforts, maximize your return. Do you know another way to get the maximum amount of value for your time? Hit that like button down below. It only takes 2 seconds and it helps the channel grow. Now, granted, there's going to be days where you're not there fully mentally, right? You're just not able to be present. Maybe something happened in your day. Maybe something's going on in your life that is, weighing down on you. We all have those days, and those days do happen. If you're not feeling the best, those are the type of days where just showing up is enough because you're building character, you're building discipline just by showing up. But in the grand scheme of things, if that's every day for you, you're not going to get to where you want to be. You have to be intentional with your time. If you say that I'm going to go to a coffee shop, sit down and study for 6 hours, I need you to be more intentional with your time. What exactly are you going to do for 6 hours? Don't say study. What are you going to study? And don't say the cardiovascular system. Have an objective. By the time you walk out of this coffee shop, you're gonna know all the coronary arteries. You're gonna know what each artery supplies, where they come from embryologically. You can't just say you're gonna sit there and study. You need to be intentional with your time. I had a mentor tell me this one time, and it really did change my life. And this is me paying it forward to you guys. Hopefully it resonates with you the same way it resonated with me. We all have things that we love to do that we'd rather be doing other than studying and working, right? We all have loved ones that we'd rather be spending our time with rather than just opening up a book and studying it or going to work. but we sacrifice our times with these things and these people in order to work, in order to pursue our calling. The truth is, you signed up for those sacrifices voluntarily. If you're a medical student like me, you knew damn well that you're gonna be studying for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours every day for years, right? You knew this. If you made a decision to go to the gym every single day for an hour, that's an hour that you could have been spending doing the things that you love, doing things that you love with the people you love, whether that's your family, your mom, dad, brother, sister, your kid, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, spouse, whatever, right? You made the decision to sacrifice an hour with them and with those things in order to go pursue something that's gonna make you better. So if you made that sacrifice voluntarily, why not be great? Now, you made those sacrifices for a reason, right? Whether that's to pursue your calling and develop a better future for yourself, better future for your family, just to improve your life circumstances. But if you're already going to sacrifice that time and give that time up away from those that you love, don't you want to get the most out of it? Do you know how else you can get the most out of your time? By hitting that subscribe button down below, because when you do that, you'll be getting 2 videos every single week. You'll be joining a community of people that want to get better every single day, and you'll be helping me out, and I greatly appreciate it. Imagine going into a room, right? And you're sitting down in front of your parents, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, with your kids, or whoever matters to you, and you tell them, hey, I made the voluntary decision to sacrifice 50 to 60 hours to study every week instead of spending time with you. I decided to sacrifice 10 hours in order to work on my fitness rather than spending time with you. I made that choice because it would be good for me, maybe it'd be good for us, but guess what? I didn't capitalize on that time. That 50, 60 hours that I spent away from you voluntarily, I didn't capitalize on it. I made the decision to leave you alone on a Saturday so I can go to a coffee shop and study for 8 hours. But while I was studying for 8 hours, I was on my phone for 4 of them. I was watching a lecture passively, one ear out the other. I wasn't really paying attention. I was listening to a lot of things, but nothing really registered in my head. And I let that happen for 8 hours. 8 hours that I could have been spending with you. So yeah, I know that you really wanted to hang out and spend time with me. I love spending time with you too, but I had to make that sacrifice and I didn't capitalize on it. Imagine if you had to have this confrontation, right? Because that's the confrontation that plays in my head when I start to procrastinate. I think about my girlfriend or my mom, my family, my little brother, and I think, wow, I really made the voluntary decision to sacrifice 6, 7, 8 hours away from them to go study and work on myself. I made that decision, but I still wasn't able to capitalize on it because I let myself get distracted. I'm gonna go through this instead of hanging out with my girlfriend, my brothers, my friends, my family, whatever, right? And I'm gonna make sure that the time that I sacrificed away from them is going to matter. I'm gonna capitalize on it. I'm gonna make the most out of that time. That way I can tell them with my head held high, look, I know that I sacrificed a lot of time, right? I gave up a lot of time that we could have been spending together. I had to make a lot of sacrifices, but look what came out of it. I was able to be great. I was able to do this. I was able to accomplish something. So I understand that that was a huge sacrifice, but understand that I made it worth it. I made it worthwhile. If you can't face your friends and your family with that kind of a mentality, you're not gonna get anywhere. Right? If you're just gonna go study for 8 hours but not actually study for 8 hours, you're not gonna get anything done. You might as well have not studied. In fact, not studying might have been better because you could have just relaxed with that time and spent time with your family and actually had time to unwind, and then you would have been more productive when it was time to study later on. We choose to procrastinate. We choose, and yes, I said choose. We choose to pick up our phones and scroll for hours and hours and hours. And yes, I understand that social media platforms are trying to keep you on their app for as long as possible. I understand that your brain's producing dopamine that's making you chase the next hit, so you're just scrolling. But we made a choice. We made a choice to be medical students. We made a choice to be entrepreneurs. We made a choice to do something else besides spending it with our loved ones. And yet we also made the choice to procrastinate the time that we sacrificed from them. And because you're procrastinating, you're wasting time that could have been spent on yourself, doing something that you love with a loved one, whatever, right? You are giving that time up and making it useless and for nothing. This is the mentality that my mentor ingrained in me, and ever since then, my life has been changed. Why not be great at it? You already made the sacrifice. You already chose to make that sacrifice. Why not be great? Be present, learn as much as possible, get as much out of it as you can since you already sacrificed that time. If it's chest day, it's a fucking chest day. Let's go kill our chest. Let's go work out. Let's go stick to the program. Let's go be intentional with our workout. Let's maximize our efforts. Let's be intentional with our study time. If I said that I want to improve academically and do better on exams, I'm going to be intentional with my time and focus on doing better, right? And unfortunately, I think that's the mentality that a lot of people have, is that they think just showing up is enough. Just showing up is not enough. It's almost like you want a participation trophy. And I hate using that phrase because there's a lot of negative connotations that kind of come with using it, but you're kind of wanting a participation trophy. Now, is just participating in certain things a bad thing? Not necessarily, right? If you went from never working out to going to the gym consistently, even if you're not being intentional with your time, I mean, at least you're going to the gym and being active, right? That is a win in some sense. Be focused on the actual message of this video, right? It's not, hey, if you're gonna have a bad workout, might as well not show up at all. Just stay home on your couch and eat a donut and just never work out again. That is not the message of this video. What I'm saying is that this is a mental thing, right? And just heart to heart from me to you, if you already made that sacrifice, if you decided that you're gonna sacrifice that time away from your loved ones, let's make it matter. Right? Let's make it worth something. Let's honor the time that we're sacrificing away from our family and our friends and our loved ones, and honor them by putting in our 100% to what we're doing. And your family hopefully understands why you're making the sacrifice, right? Hopefully you didn't make these decisions alone. Hopefully they understand that, hey, you're working on yourself is to put yourself and them in a better situation. Hopefully they'll understand that. So if they understand that especially, let's put in the effort. Now, on the flip side of things, you should also be present with spending time with your loved ones when it is time to spend time with your loved ones. And let me give you guys an example. So a couple weeks ago, we had a written neuro exam on a Friday, and it was a Thursday when my family and my girlfriend decided that they wanted to go to the theaters and watch the new Demon Slayer movie. And I wasn't feeling 100% confident about the exam content, but I still decided that I would join them and go to the theaters and watch the movie. So I decided to sacrifice a few hours of study time to go join them, right? I made that sacrifice in my head. I knew it in my head that I'm gonna have less time. Hopefully the work that I put in prior to that sacrifice is gonna pay dividends later on, right? And having already made that sacrifice, what would it look like if I went to the theaters and I was just stressed out and not present with them? If I was just complaining, oh man, I got this exam tomorrow. What am I doing here? Why am I in the theaters right now? I shouldn't be doing this. I should be studying. I'm going to whip out my phone and do some flashcards while we're watching. On the boring parts where there's no action, I'm going to start reviewing concepts in my head. I'm stressed out. What would that look like? What kind of message am I sending to them, right? I already made the sacrifice for my study time to spend time with them, so sacrifice it, let it go, and be present with them. So what I'm saying works both ways. We should be intentional with our time when we're studying and working, and we should be intentional with our time when it's time to relax and it's time to spend time with our loved ones. That way, when we're away from work and we're just relaxing and recharging, we actually relax and we actually recharge, right? That way, when it's time to work again, we're able to be intentional with our work without feeling guilty, and then it's just gonna keep feeding itself over and over and over. So next time you're spending time with your family and you sacrifice study time or work time in order to do that, honor your own sacrifice. Enjoy their company, let them enjoy yours, and be present with them. And when it's time to work, it's time to work. Be present with your work. Tell your family, see, I'm putting my phone down, and focus on what you actually need to be doing. Make sure that you're using your time wisely. Make sure that you're not just showing up, but you're showing up and putting intentional effort into what you're doing. We know so many people that put in hours and hours and hours of work into studying, into doing their job, into going to the gym that don't see the results that they want. And that's because the time devoted to an activity does not necessarily mean you're going to get more results back, right? There's something deeper to it. There's more to it than that. And what it is your mentality. Your paradigm needs to shift in order to understand that there's a certain sweat equity you get from putting in intentional effort, right? And what you get out of it is not dependent on the time invested, but it's on the effort invested. That's the mentality that's holding you back. That's the mentality that's keeping you from getting to where you want to be. So make sure you change that. Be intentional with your time and make sure that you demand to get as much out of your time as possible. Honor the sacrifices that you've made, honor the sacrifices that your family and your friends have made, and that's gonna get you to the next level. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that, just showing up is enough, or do you think that you actually need to be intentional with your efforts? What's your experience like? I'd love to hear it, so leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.